Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are watching Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 7. I'm loving Season 2. And last episode, we were introduced to a new-ish character, Mr. Sparkle. He was the old master. And through him, we were lent a horse. We made great progress. And now Thorfinn has acknowledged Einar as a friend.
Yes.
Things are looking amazing.
And also through interacting with this character who has a dynamic that is amazing with Snake, which is a character that we're really enjoying. We also are given something that should cause some worry for us as a viewer going forward. This idea that right now we have enough men here to defend against thieves, a few thieves that might be coming onto the property, onto Ketil Farm, and the old master seems to think we have way too much of desired things here that might attract negativity and bad things in the future.
I'm not worried.
You're not worried?
Nah, we have our overgrown baby Thorfinn, and the rest of the season's him just gonna be learning more things. And I'm excited for it. I'm here for it.
More farming knowledge for Thorfinn.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Fire.
Thieves?
We're
getting right into the thief plot
Iron
point.
Fist Ketil. The master's gone.
Glad to see he's healed.
They'll be back.
Smart of them to purposefully step where there are a bunch of other footprints.
People on the farm? I hope that they don't accuse or think that it was Thorfinn and Einar. Two
Snake
of them.
wouldn't go for that.
You don't think?
I don't think so.
I hope not.
And if Snake did start to suspect them, the old master would stand up for them.
I love this OP. It's so good.
This song gets stuck in my head, and I find myself humming it, like while I'm working.
Yes! Oh, look at him.
You don't have to pay
Wow,
us back.
that's a great line.
It's like he was being treated like a normal person again.
You guys are likable.
And Thorfinn's just lovable for being himself.
See, Thorfinn gets it. Yes, he is. He's trying to give him some room. No, he's not. But I've...
We're gonna appreciate it even if it's not his actual intention. Oh. You better be safe. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you.
We're being too cynical, Anna.
I know.
We're farming this season.
But he's like, I'll see you tomorrow morning. And I'm like, shoot.
Damn.
I don't like her as much as I like the actual master. Or as much as I like the old master. I like the old master the best.
I love this so much. Yeah, it is. I've never... Look at how peaceful he looks.
Oh. Do we know?
I mean, she's not working in a way that she can sell things, right?
Right, so how would she? Please grow.
What dedication!
He learned this from somewhere. You better pray.
Join me.
Good question for him to ask.
Anyone. This is amazing. There has to be a farming anime out there. It's wild that you can still see the piece of ear missing from Thorfinn. That's God. That is the God of this world.
God hears you. The master and guests.
Wow. So he used to be here for some reason or another. Okay, another son.
Off to battle like you.
Thorgil.
Thorgil.
He kind of like slightly resembles Thor's in the facial structure, right? So this is before he becomes king? Actually? Proper? Okay, what's their dynamic like?
Buddies?
At the thing.
At the thing.
What is the thing? Wow!
The training Snake put him through. The thieves. They're kids? Oh.
Listen to the score.
Oh, he's like, shoot, what am I supposed to do?
I wonder if Thorgil will step up.
Yeah. Interesting. The pressure of having to be like the law of his land. He might not want to make those choices. So we're like, we'll decide what happens to them after we eat.
Oh my god.
My necklace. Was that ears he cut off? Ugh. I mean, I guess you could, but do you want to? No.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Omar is not gonna know how to handle that.
Iron Fist Ketil.
Fist.
Really? Whoa! Oh my god! I'm kind of glad that this is where Thorfinn ended up. Obviously, wish he wasn't enslaved, but...
He doesn't want to talk about his past. Kind of like Thor's didn't want to talk about his time on the battlefield.
Thora.
Oh, missing.
おう、あのスノッリか。Is
that why he disappeared?
死んでんな、そりゃ。1年帰ってこねえんだ。大方物取りにでもって殺される。Oh man.
しかしこの頃はまだしも病の母親と赤子がおる。引き取る者はおるまい。
I feel like she's the Iron Fist.
Wow. What?
You needed evidence that it was your bags. An arm? He's like scared of his own son. And it's like he...
Wow.
Oh no! Give him the out. He's like, yes, please, give me something I can use here.
Even though the mother is sick? Wow.
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 I feel like
Do you
that's
think
not going to be
Thorgal
enough
will-
for Thorgal.
He doesn't want to do anything, man.
I feel like he needed to say something like that for Thorgal to even agree, but... I don't want to watch kids get beat. He could kill him! No! No! Fuck no! Taking it from him to do it.
At least you can tell he wasn't going his hardest because the weapon didn't break, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably not in the mood to hang out with everyone.
Oh?
You know whose lap he's in. He might not like the idea of her falling in love with someone. Shit. Oh no. That could mean trouble for A&R.
Wow.
The look on her face.
Okay, that was Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 7. That was a really hard episode to watch, but at the same time, I'm really just enjoying this season. I really enjoyed the pace, and the story that is unfolding in front of us. I didn't think that Ketil would be the character that he is, and I think that it's developing into a very interesting situation. I'm a little scared, just how sorry for the mispronunciation, I'm sure, but Arned, and what would come from A&R and their blossoming potential relationship, but what Arned means to Ketil as well, you know?
Right. I think, like, last episode we had the old master disagreeing with Ketil. the new master and this father-son dynamic that was kind of like they weren't in agreement on things. And now in this episode, we get that paralleled by his own son that now he's horrified, scared of, doesn't know how this person is his son. And more drastic than the differences between him and his father and why they don't understand or see eye to eye. Much more drastic because violence, because war. And also to have Arnid and her getting slapped after having a conversation with Einar and taking too much time in the morning. And there being that idea that, oh, well, I guess an enslaved man would be good for you. And then we learn at the end of what importance she is to the master. Everything is kind of segueing into falling into place, I guess, like breadcrumbs. Like we're getting things and then it's leading into something that makes a lot of sense narratively because we're already seeing it start to work out through parallels or little bits of information.
I want to make the clear distinction that there's a massive difference in between actually being a slave to an owner and then being somebody dealing with your own grief who is not enslaved. You cannot compare the two of those. One of them doesn't have any freedom at all. Mm-hmm. That being said, I think that it's an interesting potential theme to play with, that regardless of position, a lot of people, regardless of where they are a slave to something or a slave to one thing or another, and have their own struggles and what that means for them. Mm-hmm. Because, Ketil's a very wealthy man and is in a massive position of power on this farm. And even in his life, and how his son's talking about him, how grandiose the Iron Fist Ketil is, that's not how he's truly feeling in the slightest, as we see at the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm. It parallels, I would say, Thorfinn growing up with Thor is thinking your father is this giant man, this powerful man, and in Thorfinn's case, he was a giant and powerful and impressive man with feats on the battlefield. He had a nickname, like the troll, and to have this idea of them when really their father was disliking of violence, was not wanting to be a part of war, if anything was wanting to create a home or be in charge of a group of people that is a more positive and safe environment for others, where people help each other out and we're all working together, no violence to speak of. Yeah. And the kid going off and beginning to fight, trying to be this warrior idea like their father was, when really that's not what their father would want them to learn from them.
It's interesting. In season 1, before we even really got to know who Canute was, I was theorizing that Canute might be this badass that even he doesn't know yet, that he's incredibly capable of wielding a sword, mm-hmm. and he's choosing not to, and more being pacifist for a reason.
But it was all more just that he didn't want to, not that he maybe wouldn't be amazing on the battlefield.
And I paraphrased a quote in the Bible of a true warrior is somebody who has that strength but chooses not to wield it. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it seems like, without meaning to, I think that applies to Thor's very well, because although Ketil is in a position of emotion and empathy, it seems like he doesn't necessarily have the power, whether it be physical or mental, to impose that empathy onto others. Thor's had that strength behind him, mm-hmm. that if challenged, he could stand up for what was right. But he would always choose to do what, his
Ketil's
belief
insecure.
was first.
There's an insecurity there of not wanting to be looked at negatively. Thor's
hid the troll's
willing,
term, where
he would have been willing to be seen as a coward or weak, versus Ketil is not necessarily at this moment ready to relinquish this grand idea that everyone has of him in order for justice or in order to like speak his heart, and there's only one person he feels like he can tell all these
It
things
seems like at this point in his life, though, he's not trying to utilize that lie or name right now. Like, he was kind of embarrassed when it got brought up in the conversation.
When it got brought up. It's like he's the master of this farm, this giant farm of many farms, and he's the master of it, and he's he's going against his father in the way that he's creating more farmland, a bigger operation, not as simple, but in a way he's trying to do something that he morally feels good about with it, which he's taking it's like I'm getting something out of this because I'm getting richer because land is getting worked on, but I'm also helping people like get out of slavery, but without seeming weak myself to others.
Yeah.
Because he won't seem weak to contemporaries by doing what he's doing here, because he's still, there's logic in it. Like what Pater was saying to do with his children. Oh, get them to work off their father's debt. He's like, yes, logic, but it's still, I won't be embarrassed. My contemporaries and my horrifying son won't think lesser of me, but I'm not doing anything that's like that I deem morally bad
until
here.
the beatings came up.
Until the beatings came up. And as soon as Pater said that, he was like, yeah, I agree. What?
Yeah.
But the idea that he took it from his son after seeing the first hit, and he was like, I think that's a big moment. That he's like, I'll do it myself. He puts himself in the position of, I'm not going to turn like, I already got this train rolling. I maybe am too weak to stop the train from rolling because I'm scared of my son. I'm scared of the image of me becoming lesser as the master of this farm. But I am not too weak that I'd turn so much of a blind eye here that I would let this kid die.
Yeah.
Because his son could literally kill him. By one swing, and he knows that.
I at the start of the season thought we were a lot closer to Canute, like in terms of distance.
Geography.
And I have obviously learned otherwise, but the idea of how out of the loop people like Ketil is in terms of like Canute's like, oh, he's not referred to as the prince anymore at this time, he's the king.
So out of the loop.
Yeah, like that's fairly interesting. God, it's I'm just kind of enjoying myself right now. Like in terms of talking or theorizing where this is going to go, I feel like equally it could turn into something with Thorfinn being at the head of, the pack again, or not even the head of the pack again, but just more involved in a physical matter, but it could also just go forward with how it's been going, I feel like I'm not better equipped as I have been this season after this episode at guessing what might come.
Right, but like we got thieves last episode, but then they ended up being kids, not a giant group of people that end up kind of pillaging the farm and having to fight back against them. I'm just more like, at the moment, I'm more intrigued to see how these interpersonal relationships, like, how they end up, like how they play out. Whether it's seeing potentially how Thorgal would interact with Spherical, whether Spherical, what he truly thinks of Ketil, and obviously we saw the distance between them last episode, but how much of that is due to the pacifistic nature of Ketil, if at all, Snake trained Thorgil, which could definitely be some type of tie that would have Thorgil more so even interacting with Thorfinn. Not only does Thorgil think highly of Canute, who we know Thorfinn spent a lot of time with, but Snake recognized prowess in Thorfinn, was impressed by him, and if Snake and Thorgil have a good relationship, Thorgil could end up having an interest in Thorfinn, putting Thorfinn in a position he doesn't necessarily want to be in, like a training partner. Well, here's a question for you. Do you think that, like, Thorgil, we don't know how he learned of the name of his father, the Iron Fist Ketil. There is some potential in my mind that Thorgil has heard of Thorfinn. I was thinking the same thing as you. I was thinking Thorfinn might have a nickname that we don't even know. Well, we heard it at the end of season 1.
you know, like he was already being referred to like at like and talked about after his fight with
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a totally
Okay.
that's a great point to bring up, which would literally already have been planted by this idea of reminding us that giant stories of impressive fighters and impressive warriors are always passed around the battlefield. I mean, you have so much time on your horses or walking from around, you
Yeah.
know, they're crossing giant land. You know, they don't have cars and planes. It's gonna take a while. They need things to talk about, and they're gonna be telling stories.
Like again, I don't expect nor necessarily desire it to go down like an actiony route.
Right.
But I do think that if it did go down that route, Thorfinn would have very little choice in the matter of if he would need to fight or not.
Yes.
If Thorgil,
Yes.
the master's son, is adamant that he gets to duel and practice while
exactly.
here.
And that's a worry, and Thorgil's almost similar slightly to Thorkel in terms of being really big, very scary, like impressive, probably like obviously really loves the spoils of war and the battlefield. He made it a necklace of the ears of Englishmen.
I cannot believe Ketil was like, Snake, did you threaten them to confess? I was like, yo, like that's crazy to bring up. Like that's like a 21st century like argument that's like idea. You know, like
coercion.
Yeah, and like that was like did not expect you know, Ketil to bring that up, and
because he could be like, I can throw this out. He's like, I'm a judge. I have a gavel. I can throw out this case because you threatened.
That's what like really. Like immediately I felt like I understood his nature, and by the end of the episode everything just fit together like a puzzle.
But this episode was everything we needed to be able to actually understand him, because all we had of him was this idea that, okay, well, he's a slave owner, a slave master, so obviously has to be a certain type of person that's on not in the moral scales, like, ooh, you know, not good. But he's buying people and then giving them an opportunity to earn back their freedom by working for him. So this whole time I've been trying to understand, like, actually, like, what's in his heart? Who is this person? Where is his own personal scale of good, right and bad, and good and evil?
But also what you can, like, realistically do in the culture and civilization that they're in.
And it seems like, yeah, by the situation he's put himself in or wants to be in, he's doing what he views as right as he can be without sacrificing his own image and his own wealth.
My only thought going into the next few episodes is if the conversation with Einar and Arned about Arned potentially buying herself back and what that would mean in terms of never leave me with Ketil, like that's where my eyeside is.
That conversation, can he ask her that question, and what would her response be? Would Ketil, is there even a deal like that? By how he was speaking, I feel like maybe there is. But the unfortunate thing would be that he might believe that he's attached to her, and he might believe that there's a mutual affection.
Or even if it's not mutual, it's just I'm in charge of you. I own you.
And he might wish that he hadn't given her some type of deal.
I don't think there is a deal personally. Because there's no way of buying, like there's no goods to sell other than yourself, which I fucking God, I don't know.
Just the way that she was looking, like he was speaking to her with such affection, like, you're the only one I can like open myself up like this to, never leave me. So much like affection in what he's saying on the obsessive territory, and she's just like saying things and stroking his hair, but when it pans up to her face, it's like she's just going through the motions. She is not present in that brain right there. And it's so sad.
Yep. All right, that's all I have you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.